All right. What's going on? This is Hoppe Hour Live here on the No Filter Network. Shout out to the No Filter Network for allowing me to do my thing on here. Very weird looking presentable on TV. I know I look amazing right now, but it's so weird. I'm so used to just leaning back in my chair and not having to look TV ready. So I'm just getting used to this. So let's get right into it. I have some thoughts that I wrote down, some ideas. I actually brought prep today. I had prep last time, but this time I really brought prep. So here's an example. The NBA play-in games have been absolutely bizarre because there's got to be a better way of doing it. And what I mean is this. You have the San Antonio Spurs going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, two teams that are under 500. Then you had the Hornets going up against the Pacers, two teams under 500. And the play-in game at first seems like a great idea until you watch the basketball that's provided. And it was absolutely horrendous. I don't know which one of the Ball brothers is on the Hornets. I know it's not Lonzo, and I know it's not their dad, LeVar. But I knew the Hornets were not going to win that game against the Pacers when he shot a three and it just hit the side of the rim. It didn't even attempt to go in. And I was like, there's no reason the Hornets should be in the playoffs. And then you have the Indiana Pacers who make a lot of three-pointers, and God bless Doug McDermott, but he did none of that in the Chicago Bulls. But now he's on the Indiana Pacers, and he's an absolute baller. We will see what happens tonight against the Celtics. Right now, it is May 20th, 2021. It's 7:03 p.m., so the game will probably be over by the time you watch this. And then you had the Celtics versus the Wizards. And I find the Wizards to be very aggravating because I have a very aggravating relationship with Russell Westbrook. Here's why. Russell Westbrook might be the GOAT. And what I mean by that is he's the GOAT of being nothing more than a guy who just plays for himself. Regular season game, you need Russell Westbrook to lose by 10 or win by 10 and get a triple-double. Amazing. Get him to break the record. Amazing. Lead a team to the finals when it's not Kevin Durant and him in 2012, but James Harden and Serge Ibaka on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not going to happen. Russell Westbrook's infuriating because then when he starts doing these amazing things in the regular season, everyone's like, oh my God, he's so good. And then he has a chance to win a play-in game against the Boston Celtics, and he doesn't really show up. He has an okay game, but it's not the amazing Russell Westbrook that we see in the regular season. And I'm not shocked. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't thrown off by it. There is my analysis of the Eastern Conference play-in series. Now, let's talk about this San Antonio Spurs team real quick. Should not have even been in the play-in series. I don't know what team you could have put in. I know they earned it by being the 10th seed, but my God, are they horrendous. When you don't have Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard and David Robinson and Tony Parker, all of a sudden, Greg Popovich looks beatable, and he is. It really made you realize that we took the San Antonio Spurs for granted. Because all of a sudden, they're horrendous now. And honestly, I'm cool with the San Antonio Spurs not making it far at all in the playoffs. Because Greg Popovich used to be not presentable. Not that I care what a coach looks like, but he looked presentable. And now he's got this wacky hair looking like an old drug dealer in Miami. Looking like somebody who was a big deal in Miami in 1980 and now is a wash-up. living off of drug money that he got away with. Greg Popovich looks horrendous. And I went to a Toronto Raptors game. I went to 4 games this year. I'm very lucky. Got tickets through work and the DeBartolo family. And when you see Greg Popovich up close, he does not look cool at all. You know, like when you sometimes see somebody up close and you're like, man, you look better on TV, or man, you look better in person. Greg Popovich, definitely a guy who looks better on TV. And then there was the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't know much about them. Last time I cared about watching the Grizzlies was when they had Zach Randolph and Rudy Gay and Mike Conley 10 years ago. I can't believe it was 10 years ago. First of all, before I get into how little I cared about the Memphis Grizzlies, I don't know what it is about 2011 being 10 years ago, but oh my God, every day I'll go on Facebook and I'll see someone say, oh my God, time flies. 2011 was 10 years ago. It's like, okay. Got anything else? Like, what would that person be like in a social situation? Time flies. Really? You don't say. Thanks for the reminder. Back to the Grizzlies. It's unbelievable. It's so weird. I don't have as much time to be an NBA junkie as I used to. So I literally had no idea who any of the Memphis Grizzlies were. It was so weird watching a team and being like, yeah, never heard of these people. But what's funny is all these teams are bad. The Hornets were bad. Pacers are whatever. Very Caucasian. Then you had the Memphis Grizzlies and Spurs. And this concept that they suck is very bizarre. Like growing up as a kid, I would be like, oh yeah, Memphis Grizzlies suck. Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony sucks because he can't get out of the first round with the New York Knicks. Even though all these people are millionaires and would beat us one-on-one in basketball, it's always been fascinating to me whenever you say that a team sucks. Like I went to 4 Raptors games this year, which in itself was bizarre. Seeing NBA basketball at the Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, where the Tampa Bay Lightning usually play. It was bizarre because like they'd be like, and here are your Toronto Raptors. And then you're like, but this is Tampa. And for me, as a diehard NBA fan, it was like having sex with the girl. How could I explain it? It was definitely like having sex with a condom. There was no doubt about that. Like there was nothing really that amazing about it. Like it was cool having the NBA in town. It's like having sex with a girl who you kind of begin to dig, but she's in town during the summer and will be going back to college. That's the perfect example. I just nailed it because I'm really good at this. I'm an expert. I'm a pro. You are watching the greatest of all time. The NBA being in Toronto is like normal for them because they're used to it. But the NBA being in Tampa, it's like when you get to have nice condom sex with that girl you dig, then all of a sudden she goes back to college. But last night was the Warriors versus the Lakers. Curry versus LeBron. And all of a sudden, I'm so indifferent about LeBron James. Here's the thing. I get he's an all-time great. And 10, 11 years ago, when he did the decision, I was like, oh yeah, boo LeBron. I was a 16-year-old douche. Like, yeah, you suck, loser. You're a douche. When you had that press conference that looked like a WWE rally, not 1, not 2, not 3. But over time, I've grown up. And to me, watching LeBron is like drinking a fancy bourbon that you don't like at all, but you know it tastes good. Even though you're not into bourbon at all, you're sipping on it and you're like, ugh, but it's making you feel good. Like watching LeBron James makes you feel good. Like you're like, this guy is one of the best of all time. It's like drinking that bourbon, you're like, ugh. And what makes you go, is his flopping. I mean, it's just so unsettling. He gets poked in the eye by Draymond Green and literally like, ah! He falls to the ground. Like, bro, relax. Bro. There's one thing to flop when you're trying to draw a foul. I'll never hate on a player for that. But it's so ridiculous seeing LeBron James, who's 6'10". I mean, they say he's 6'8", but you know he's taller. And to see him have Draymond Green's hands touch his eyes and let that bother him, and he falls to the ground and he's laying there like, oh no, I'm dead. And then there was really no like nervous energy from the reporters. You didn't really hear Mike Bream go, oh no, this is bad news. They're like, oh, when's LeBron James going to get up? You didn't hear Mike Bream go, oh, this is a travesty for the NBA. The fact that LeBron James is injured. No, everyone just kind of waited it out and was like, oh, hopefully this ends soon. By the way, Mike Bream is bizarre. It's like listening to Kevin Harlan and a Marv Albert wannabe. Because he talks like this, and he's got a good announcer voice. This is the only voice I can do. But it's like I'm watching all these version of Marv Albert. What's funny is I can only do one voice, and it's like that of like the hacky morning DJ announcer. Like, this is, let me come up with a name real quick. This is Campbell's Morning Erection. I am syndicated out of Des Moines, Iowa, and heard in many Midwest cities. Sometimes I have to jump myself. When I talk about being in Midwest cities, it sounds like I'm saying shitty, but I'm saying shitty. Or, hey, this is Man Cow. Literally the only voices I can do is that of a hacky announcer. Back to the point. Last night's LeBron James was just out of this world. Because then you drink that bourbon and you get that buzz. And the buzz you get is him draining the three at the buzzer when the shot clock is about to go off in the face of Curry in Los Angeles and everybody cheering. And you're like, oh, damn it. It's like your hangover. It's like you're out all night drinking bourbon. You're like, ah, damn it. That was good. And then like the Warriors, like, you think, man, what if Klay Thompson was on the floor? Like, they definitely would have, I said that weird. They definitely would have won if Klay Thompson was on the floor, because literally you have Draymond being Draymond, and then you have Curry making threes and whatnot, but it felt like it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? So, there's my NBA recap. Also, I want to talk about the NBA Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, and how it doesn't matter. If I may quote Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force in the episode when he's going to marry Svetlana, some Russian mail order bride, and it's him and Shake, and Frylock messes up her name, and Carl goes, it don't matter. None of this matters. Kind of a saying for life. But it also goes with the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. What I mean by that is everyone's like, how can Chris Webber get into the Hall of Fame? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He had good years with the Sacramento Kings. You can make fun of him for calling that timeout. At the end of the Michigan game, he's pretty good. I don't know. Made all NBA 5 times. Went to 5 NBA all games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to say? Like, does it really bother you, NBA fans, that Chris Webber went into the Hall of Fame? Like, does it really impact your day? When I saw that Chris Webber went in, and I went on NBA Twitter, which is a bunch of keyboard warriors, you talk about liberals and Republicans arguing on social media. Oh my God, behind a keyboard? No. It's even worse with NBA fans. These guys are like, yeah, I've been going to games since I was a little kid. Okay? So that means you know anything about sports and that you can critique if somebody should go into the Hall of Fame or not? Got it. And honestly, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame is kind of cool in the way that the writers don't really take it that seriously. Like the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, all those guys are into analysis. All those guys are into numbers. All those guys are like, that player cheated, Pete Rose, and he's not going into the Hall of Fame. And the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame seems like, and you get in. It's like the Oprah thing. And you get one, and you get to go in. I mean, I saw people debating, should Horace Grant go into the Hall of Fame? I'm like, okay, not everybody needs to go in, but fine by me. I brought some more prep. Let's see what else I have here. First of all, before I get to that, this show is being brought to you by westchaseprinting.com, at DJ Tone Tampa on IG, at West Chase Printing on IG. If you go to westchaseprinting.com, you can get yard signs, business cards, whatever you need printed. And when you get that nice invoice, because they're already going to hook you up with an amazing deal, tell them I sent you, and he will hook you up even more. This is also being brought to you by the Tampa Bay Hot Sauce Company at tampabayhotsauce.com. There, if you're watching in Florida, has all the locations to purchase it in Florida. But if you're not in Florida, you can purchase it online at tampabayhotsauce.com. This is also being brought to you by richkbarber.com, Rich Healy the Barber. If you're in Tampa, go to richkbarber.com. It's also being brought to you by fitsagefitness.com. If you're in Tampa, you can work out with Devin Prasad. If you're not, you can do virtual workouts. That's at fitsagefitness.com. All right, back to the show. Let me see here. What else do I have? Prep. TikTok. So, for the longest time, I was like, I'm not getting a TikTok. I'm not getting one. It was mainly from like 2019 to I began dating my girlfriend. Because it was like a weird music app before 2019. And then they kind of made it more where you can post different things. I'm not the authority on TikTok. I am the authority on most things, but I'm definitely not the authority on TikTok. But I will tell you that it is absolutely, positively addicting. Now, all you got to do is literally follow things you're into, and the algorithms will show you funny videos, and just go about your day. Phone here. Hi, tonight, can I watch some Game of Thrones parodies? I've never really liked Game of Thrones and watched 2 episodes, but I know because I'm talking into my phone that it'll show things on my algorithms, and then it'll come up on TikTok. Literally, whatever you do during the day, you're going to see something on TikTok about it. Like the other day, I was talking to a friend on the phone, and he began doing an impersonation of Biden. Then all of a sudden, all these Biden videos came up. So literally, just go about your life, and TikTok will be like, okay, we'll find a video for what happened in the 2 p.m. hour. And we'll find a video with your favorite rapper that you were listening to while working out at 10 a.m., and we'll have it on this page. Very freaky how TikTok works. Also, what's weird about it is there's these really talented dudes that do these like lip syncing and do impersonations of people that are horrendous, like Gary Vee, who I just think, if you like Gary Vee, you're very simple-minded, you're very easily influenced, and you got money to spend, and you're buying his NFT and his V card, and it's just, ugh. Gary Vee is just laughing at you. All these people are like, I want to meet Gary Vee. He would change my life. No, you'd just waste your money. Then you'd wonder why your car is getting repoed. I'm donating all this money to Gary Vee. It's so worth it. Anyway, on TikTok, they have these impersonators and these people doing like acting where they'll pretend to be somebody and they're literally the same person. It's really talented. This is what they call it, I believe, obviously. But what's weird is I like to follow them on IG and on Twitter and on Snapchat. And these look like some of the most miserable people ever. There's this one dude, Lacout, I believe. His name's like Andrew Lacout, but he goes by Licout, so I think it's probably Lacout. And he does these videos where he'll do like an Eminem song, and he'll pretend to be Slim Shady in the corner, and he switches over to Dr. Dre and does all the lip syncing. It's really, really good. Then I watched him do a live video on TikTok where he's walking around in New York City, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're so handsome. Everyone's like, oh my God, you're so talented. Everyone's like, you're so great. And he's just walking around like, yeah. And I like to do research on these TikTokers, and supposedly he works for Ralph Lauren in New York City as like a manager of a display room. So like he's making good money. But then he starts doing things about quarter life crisis on TikTok, and you're like, yeah, this guy is not the happiest. And I can relate to that. But it's so bizarre because you're watching these TikToks and they're making you laugh. And then these people think like that they're just easily immediately happy because it makes you happy. And then you look them up and they're so unhappy. And then there's the obvious trolls on TikTok. There's this one dude who's got red hair, who looks like a creep, he's like this pretty boy, and he's like, yeah. I can't even impersonate his fake vocal fry. And he got Doja Cat, the rapper, and Lizzo to respond, and other people. And he's like, and it's like him laying in his bed. Let me try to do it. It's like, one thing you'll learn on the show is I'm not good at voices, but he's like, all I would want is for a 5'7" blonde to be laying in my bed. And that's actually me speaking clearer than what he's saying. He'll be like, 5'7" blonde needs to lay in my bed now. I'm bored. And then all these people respond to him and get really mad. And I'm like, man, Gen Z, if Howard was on the radio, if wrestling was on UPN every Friday, man, they would get that canceled in a second. Like, they don't get the idea of like a heel, of like being a troll. Man. Because everybody's like, oh my God, he's a douchebag. Oh my God, he's a piece of garbage. And I'm like, this dude's a genius. Like, he's trolling everybody. Do I think he is unhappy? Oh, totally. Piece of crap. At the same time, he knows that way he does this. He's drawing attention and getting you to talk about him because you are easily pissed off. Oh. Go to my website, RyanHoppyRadio.com. We got 6 minutes left in this. This is hilarious. So I've been trying to keep up more lately with the news. Like, I was having a panic attack about this show earlier. Oh, am I any good? Even though the No Filter Network, after I applied, they are so awesome. And they're like, hey, do you want to join our network? David was so cool and taught me so much. And this network is amazing. But my brain, my self-sabotage, this effing voice in my head will not leave me alone. So I'm trying to look up the news to kind of get a perspective on life, and I'm seeing everything going on in Israel with people living in war zones. And I go to click on like a Washington Post article. I had a hard time saying that word today when I interviewed Bruce St. James on my podcast. In a Washington Post article, it goes, oh, you got to pay 99 cents to view this article or pay $2.99 a month. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, at what point do the newspapers just need to admit that they're done? Because then I just went to YouTube or Twitter and looked up the news or listened to a podcast. Like, if you're honestly paying read a newspaper, you're a boomer. You're a Gen Xer and it's semi-traditional and you want to feel so cool in your office or your cubicle reading it off of your iPad. Because there's literally, it's got to be a routine thing. because I know it's working. But if you're honestly paying for a newspaper, it's got to be just, it's like makes you feel cool. You probably also watch videos on your VHS player. You probably also don't even have Netflix or Hulu. You watch reruns of Seinfeld on your local rerun channel that's on syndication. Like, it's for a very basic boomer or Gen Xer. And then if you're a Gen Zer or a millennial and you're reading a newspaper, you're just trying to be ironic. You're just trying to fit in at that point. But I love these newspapers. Let me do the voice of that kid from TikTok. You gotta pay to read this article. And I'm like, no, I'll just go somewhere else. Talking like this makes me think of this dream I had last night. I've been having this weird dream lately where I'm in a social situation, and I used to have a really bad speech impediment. I couldn't get a word out in 2012, and I wanted to go into radio, and I had a hard time saying words. I was kind of like a mix of Kenny and Timmy on South Park. Anyway, went to speech therapy, put in my $10,000, started taking Klonopin. Did I say started taking Klonopin? And 85%, 90% of the way there. But I'll have these dreams where, like, I'm in a social situation and, like, it's like words don't come out, but they do come out. But it's like I'm, like, having a panic attack. So I'll be talking to my boss, and I'm like, how are you doing? It's almost like I'm having a heart attack or something. And then it's like I continue to talk to him, but nothing's going on with my health. But I'm just laying there in a social situation like, hi, can I get a radio show? It's the weirdest thing. Then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I can talk. So there you go. Got 2 minutes left on this show. Yeah. I went through all my topics today. I'm going to start doing this more often. But my anxiety, I don't think I'm good enough. And then I'm like, damn, I'm pretty good. All right. To listen to my radio show that can be found in a podcast form, it's a radio show in a podcast form, go to every single major platform. Spotify, TuneIn, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and search up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. Add me on every social media platform, add Ryan Hoppe Radio, but my Snapchat is Hoppe Radio. Go to my website, ryanhopperadio.com. This has been brought to you by TampaBayHotSauce.com, RichKBarber.com, AmirAcademy.com, Amir Academy of Martial Arts, FitStageFitness.com, and WestChasePrinting.com, which provides this banner for Hoppe TV. And spread the word and let me know what you guys think of the show. Because like I say, on my show, Hoppe Hour, which can be found on every platform, like I said, by searching Hoppe Radio, and on this show, Hoppe Hour Live, that I record for the hardworking average Joe and Jane that grind in life. So if you're in a Midwest city and it's cold or you're in a warm climate, let's say if you're in a Midwest city and you're plowing snow, I want to make time go by. If you're in a warm climate and you're a landscaper, I want to make time go by as well for you. So don't you ever forget that I record for the hardworking average Joe and Jane that grind in life. All right. Bye now. Peace out.